And this is probably one of my favorite pieces of kit right here. This one kept me really warm. When we were up there, actually, I was thinking, you know, it was really bulky and I didn't really want to hike it up there, because this is, for a winter bag, it's a fairly cheap winter bag. There's a lot of down winter bags out there that are, you know, $300, $600, whatever, depending on your currency and which bag you get, for the really light, compact down ones. This one is a Coleman branded bag. It's rated down to survivability -12 degrees Celsius, and for comfort zone -7 degrees Celsius. And boy, was I happy to have this bag when we were up there. As I said, I was super cold. I was chilled to the bone. We got some tea when we were up there on the mountain. Got a little bit warmer. Warmed up my core a bit, and then took off my wet clothes. I didn't even want to. I was so cold that I didn't want to have those few seconds of taking off my wet clothes to change over to dry clothes, just because I didn't want to be exposed to the wind for like any period of time at all. But once this change over the dry clothes got a little bit warmer, but my feet were still pretty cold. They weren't aching, and they weren't sort of in that burning condition when your feet get super cold, but they were cold. I could tell they were, you know, not the happiest feet. And my knees too were really cold because I was basically kneeling in military surplus woodland pants without the thermal layer in between. I just had the khakis or whatever they are, the cargo pants. And so my knees were soaked, and that was really cold and wet. And even after I switched to my dry layer of my Under Armour, which is fantastic gear, definitely recommend Under Armour, my knees were still wet, and they kind of soaked into the Under Armour a bit because I didn't have another pair of pants. So definitely can get one of those or some of those pants with the plastic knee covers, plastic butt cover. That'd be great for my next trip out. But this bag, the reason I mention all those things is sort of to get you to the idea of where my body was at for temperature-wise. So my core was pretty warm, but my extremities, my arms and my legs and my feet were pretty cold. And it took 2 hours inside this bag, and I was not shivering. I was pretty warm. My core was warm, but my feet were cold. And then after 2 hours, I kind of woke up a bit. Even though I wasn't sleeping, I just sort of became more conscious, I guess. And my feet were really toasty at about 2 hours in the bag. And my legs were warm. Every part of me was warm. I was feeling great. Sort of drifted off a little bit again. And then woke up a little bit less than 3 hours from getting into the bag. And I was sweating. So it was so hot that I was sweating. And that was amazing. I decided to stick my head out of the bag and take off my toque, and slept the rest of the night with my head out of the bag. Inside the tent was, I think, about -1, -2 as we slept. And yeah, I was super warm in this bag, so that's the best $80 ever spent. And even though originally I was going to try to get a cheaper bag because I didn't think I needed it, I do not regret buying this Coleman. And later on, my shelter collapsed on me. The bag got drenched on the outside, completely soaked on the outside, and the water didn't penetrate, so it didn't come through, and I was still warm, still dry on the inside, even though the bag was super wet. So definitely recommend this Coleman branded bag if you're on a budget. And I have heard, I don't have experience with it, but I have heard that the down bags, if they get wet, they aren't as good as keeping the heat in. So perhaps if you're in a rainy climate like here in BC, it's basically a rainforest, you might want to pick up a Coleman. And yeah, so I'll give this one 5 out of 5 stars.